Here we go.
Phone has TV and downloads music.
I can check email.
I have that. And crime deterrent.
What?
Try and take my wallet.
Here.
Live TV, wireless music downloads, email, and crime deterrent.
I'm filing a grievance, Ben.
On the Sprint PowerVision.
Good afternoon and welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. We are here in the Georgia Dome for today's battle, the 19th annual Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic. This is Roy Evans with the Black College Sports Network. Want to say hello to the crew: Darren Jones, Ryan Prentice, Damian Mitchell, Demetrius Wheeler, and we now turn you over to Brian Fulford and Ron Mitchell with the call of today's game.
Good afternoon, Brian Fulford once again joined by Ron Mitchell, and we are live at the Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic, one of the most historic and tradition-rich contests between Florida A&M University and the Tennessee State University Tigers. This game here in Atlanta has hosted one of the biggest football classics in all of black college football. Annually, this game has drawn upwards of 70,000 here in the Georgia Dome. And this contest over the last decade has been full of great battles, but it's been largely dominated by Florida A&M University. Florida A&M has won the last 5 contests, including a 25-22 overtime victory last year in front of nearly 58,000. The Rattlers come into this non-conference ball game with a record of 1-2, picking up their first win last week against Howard University. For Tennessee State, they entered a ball game with a record of 2-2 after a loss last week to Southern 34-41. As both teams prepare to take the field, the Florida A&M Rattlers will receive the ball. Tennessee State will be kicking. You'll see Florida A&M in green jerseys trimmed in orange pants. The Tigers of Tennessee State in white trimmed in blue. Starting with our Chrysler quarterback comparison, of course, everything for Florida A&M starts with Deuce. Number 2, Albert Chester Sr., 6'1", 217 pounds from out of Tampa, Florida. The senior redshirt quarterback coming off a great game last week, in which, against Howard on the season, he's 48 of 79 for 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. On the other side of the ball for Tennessee State, their leader is Antonio Hefner Jr., 6'2", 195. He's completed 15 of 30, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. So as the Rattlers prepare to receive the ball, plenty of storylines here, and we'll get to all of those here in just a minute. Ron, what are some of our keys, or your keys to this ball game as we prepare for the kickoff?
I mean, right now, both teams, there's a lot of electricity in the air. They have to establish a little tempo because both teams are excited, trying to get a roll as far as getting some win streaks going. So right now, we got to look and see who can capitalize on miscues and who can maintain possession of the ball. And we're off to a start. Got a low squib kick.
Ball is picked up by Philip Sylvester at the 15. Coming up the right side, 30. Out to the 35, 36-yard line. And we can't say enough about this young man, this true freshman from out of Marianna, Florida, Philip Sylvester. As we go to our sprint starting lineups, Philip Sylvester last week against Howard ran for 222 yards, which was the 4th best single game rushing record or in a season by Florida A&M. The rest of our lineups: Todd Jenkins, the tight end; Derek Williams, the wide receiver; Jarvis Funderburk, and Willie Hayward. Chester's first pass, he starts off to Willie Hayward, and Hayward will pick up 10, 12 yards. Of course, Willie Hayward, the senior from Miami, Florida. Hayward injured his knee, had a slight MCL sprain in the opening game against Southern in, I believe it was the second quarter, and the number one threat for Al Chester has not been back until this week. And I'm telling you, Ron, Mr. Chester is definitely going to enjoy the fact that he has such a big target to throw to.
Yeah, definitely having him back in the fold, he needs that. I mean, you got it. Last year they established a lot of rapport, and all of a sudden your go-to guy is not there. That kind of takes an element of your game away.
We had a holding penalty, which from the spot, I believe, will push the ball back to the 28-yard line. So now it's the first down and 12. So already, as you saw, Chester going immediately to Hayward. Chester in the shotgun. Sylvester's the single back. Twins right. That's Derek Williams in motion. The inside handoff to Sylvester. And he'll get right about to the original line of scrimmage. To set the offensive lineman in front of Chester, you've got right tackle, 75, Robert Okafor. Right guard, Javier Wallace. Center, Kwame Akibala. Left guard, Anthony Collins. And left tackle, Justin Delancey.
That was Kevin Woodard for Tennessee State on the tackle. We have like a 2nd and 9 situation.
2nd and 9 for Chester. Once again in shotgun. Twin receivers in a tight formation to his right. In motion is Sylvester. The handoff to Sylvester. Outside. Stiff arm, and he's dragged down. Dragged down by number 10, Reno Thompson.
On that play, Reno Thompson established an outside presence on that, because that play could have turned up for big yardage.
As we kind of talk about that defensive unit, our Chrysler key defensive player for the Tennessee State Tigers, Redmond Willis. Willis, middle linebacker, leading the team with 24 tackles, 4 for loss on the season. The rest, Florida A&M calls a timeout. We'll take a second and finish with the rest of the defensive unit, the sprint starting lineup for Tennessee State. Starting up front in the rover spot, Kellen Woodard, 6'3", sophomore. Defensive tackle, Maurice Davis, junior, 6'2", 245. The nose guard, Travis Stubblefield, true freshman, 6'2", 270. Defensive end, Maurice Royster, a junior, 6'3", 230. And the linebacker, Nashawn Bigham, junior, 6'2", 210.
I mean, one thing you can say, that whole unit is coming back next year.
The rest of the lineup includes Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, actually listed as a cornerback, senior, 6'2", 185, one of the standouts. Reno Thompson, as we've already mentioned, the junior. Safety Anthony Levine, a sophomore, 6'1", 195. Larry Williford and Marquez Hall. So now with a
trips to the field,
third down and 7. Chester trips to his left, out of shotgun, drop back, pump fakes, goes underneath to Sylvester, and he's hit. And he breaks the tackle though, and comes up short of the first down and tackled down at the 44-yard line.
That was Calvin Baker for Tennessee State, making actually a big play. Saving a big play, because that play had the potential to go for a much longer yardage than it did, but they end up coming up short, forcing FAMU into a punting situation.
Wesley Taylor, All-American MEAC selection, kicking.
He's going to kick it to Rose. He's supposed to be a speedster. He's a fair catch it.
And that ball is fair caught at the 23-yard line. So Tennessee State will take over. Tennessee State, and all eyes in the FAMU defense will be on halfback Javarius Williams. Last year in this Classic, Javarius Williams ran for 229 yards on 33 carries, and unfortunately what's most remembered is his fumble in overtime that allowed FAMU to hold on to their 3-point lead. Averaging 113 yards per game. There's the pitch to Williams off the right tackle, picking up 12, 13 yards on the run.
That was a real punishing run.
The rest of our sprint starting lineup for the Tennessee State Tigers.
Ernest Williams made the last tackle for the Rattlers.
Starting with wide receiver Chris Johnson, number 5, averaging 118 receiving yards per game. Wide receiver Troy Smith and Brandon Velvet, tight end Antonio Graham. Hefner, there's the handoff on the right side, picking up 10, fumbles the ball. Oh, they're going to say he's out of bounds.
Actually stepped out of bounds.
And Dominique Rogers-Cromartie coming off the defensive side of the ball and in as a runner. Michael Creary on the stop. The rest of the starting lineup up front for the Tigers. Left tackle, Quatus Adebayo. Left guard, Duval Young. Center, Cecil Newton. Right guard, Eugene Banks. Right tackle, Cornelius Lewis. It is second down and short. Cromartie in motion. Hefner, play action. He's got 4 receivers, goes deep down the middle. He's got a man to 10-5. Touchdown. Troy Smith from Antonio Hefner, and the Tigers strike first in a big way.
That was a nicely thrown ball, well executed. The Tigers strike first. We got to see how the FAMU Rattlers come back and answer the call.
And I believe that was about a 52-yard completion, touchdown completion. On to kick the extra point, Eric Benson. The snap, kick is up and good. And the Tigers striking first here in Atlanta. Our score with 12:05 remaining, Tennessee State 7, Florida A&M 0.
Who's faster? Sprint mobile broadband or Singular's Edge? Sprint mobile broadband gives you the power to download 5 times faster than Singular's Edge. Work faster with Sprint mobile broadband. Get a free mobile broadband card for your business. Visit sprint.com/business.
Hello and welcome back to the Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic. We are here. Our score is FAMU 0, Tennessee State 7. Today's game is brought to you in part by BlackAmericaTravel.com. Black America Travel, get your stuff, lock the door, and let's go. Also brought to you in part by MEACFans.com. MEAC Fans, covering the MEAC inside and out. Also brought to you by On and In Online Sports and the HBCU Network. Again, we are here at the Atlanta Football Classic as we now turn the call back over to Brian Fulford and Ron Mitchell.
Thank you, Roy. 12:05 remaining in the first quarter. Tigers 7, Florida A&M 0. Ron, try to break down, if you can, a little bit of what just happened there in that secondary. It didn't appear as if Florida A&M was really in a nickel, or it looked like they just got beat in the seams in that 4-receiver set.
The receiver ran a great route. Right now, Tennessee State is trying to concentrate on stopping the run. And they kind of caught the defensive backs peeking in the backfield, and they gave up their primary containment, which is defending the pass. Because the ball, the receiver actually had the weight on it, so he clearly had everyone beat. And anytime that happens, you know, you got to be able to come back and still play the rest of the ball game and try to prevent that from happening again. But that was a greatly thrown ball.
Hefner on the season averaging 238.5 yards.
He has a respectable pass game.
65 of 114. He has thrown, that now is his 7th touchdown of the year. He has thrown 7 interceptions. So there is, you know, I really think right there on that possession, Florida A&M really got hit with that running game, and that's what killed them last year. And credit Tennessee State for really stepping up there and completing the big pass play. Philip Sylvester receiving on his 11. Makes the handoff. No, it is a handoff. Going reverse. There's a nice block. Cutting up to the 30, up the sideline, 40, 45, almost to midfield. Number 85 for the Florida A&M Rattlers. Unfortunately, don't have 85's number on our depth chart, but could be just a jersey malfunction, and once we get that squared away, I'll be able to let you know who number 85 is.
I thought they got away with a kind of a low block.
Well,
on that little crackback.
They actually, the flag is about on the 38. The crackback was actually back near the 20. So there must have been another penalty a little further downfield.
We have a holding call.
That was going to be my guess.
I think we have a player injured across the field on the sideline. Actually, the kicker, which was Troy Walker out of Wauchula, Florida, actually kind of yielded the tackle to let the backside pursuit end up making the stop.
Victoriano Arboleta called for the holding. That will bring the ball all the way back to the 28. Didn't get a chance to mention our 2 head coaches for Tennessee State. James Webster, a North Carolina graduate from out of 1972. In his 3rd year with the Tigers, a 10-16 record overall, still looking for his first win over Florida A&M. And of course for the Rattlers, Reuben Carter, also in his 3rd year, from out of Miami, 1975. 13-9 record over the 2 seasons, currently 2-0 over Tennessee State.
The injured Rattler was number 47.
Demarius Folsom, and that could be a big blow. Folsom comes in the what I'd call the Rattler big packages, where they go with the 2 tight end sets and the big guy Anthony Edwards, especially in short yardage. Folsom plays a major role in the blocking schemes along with Taj Jenkins. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the blocking schemes for the Rattlers. As both teams, as we said, come into this ball game looking for a win. Florida A&M coming off a bye after a big victory against Howard in Tallahassee. Tennessee State looking to rebound from a tough loss to Southern, 41-34.
Right now, we have to really see FAMU's offenses come out, and they've gone through various sets and formations. We really haven't seen a lot of consistency at them moving the chain as far as getting first downs. So this is a big possession for them to try to establish some ground in this game, because the Tennessee State Tigers came out, they ran a couple of reverses, showed a little option look, then they had the big hitter to go for the home run. So right now they're up. So the momentum right now is shifting toward their way. And we can see right now what the Rattlers can do behind the engineer himself, Mr. Albert Chester.
Chester brings his team out onto the field now. He'll come out with 2 receivers to his right. Willie Hayward, Derek Williams. In the backfield with Philip Sylvester is Dietrich Henry, number 23. There's the handoff to Henry, and he's wrapped up. He'll pick up maybe a yard.
That was a great backside play
On the
by number 17.
Brandon Gouch, the true freshman from right here out of Atlanta, Georgia, made the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Ball on the 29. Chester now in the center. Backs in an off-split eye. Twins left. Chester making an adjustment. This is the first game since the beginning in which Chester has had both senior receivers. And running up the middle, following his blockers, is Sylvester, and that's a nice run. Pickup of about 8 yards, and it'll create a 3rd down and 1. You know, last game for FAMU against Howard, Sylvester hit the holes with such speed and quickness. Kind of caught a lot of people off guard. There you showed his patience and the great blocking up front. 3rd and 1, ball on the 37. Chester under center, making an adjustment. Receivers are split. There's the handoff. There's Sylvester with room at the 45 midfield, and he's roped out of bounds. Horse collared on the tackle by Anthony Levine.
Levine coming up from his free safety position.
And we saw that big set once again where, you know, Florida A&M has done a great job this year in those formations in getting Sylvester outside of the tackles. And he runs hard. He is such an impact player for this offensive unit.
We've Chester, seen 2 great plays by the FAMU Rattlers right now.
In shotgun, trips left, dropping back, looking, finds Funderburk underneath at a 40, cuts up field, picks up the 1st and more. It's number 83, Jarvis Funderburk, who leads the team in receptions, the redshirt freshman from Pahokee, Florida.
Number 27, Calvin Baker, made the tackle for the TSU Tigers. Right now, FAMU has a little momentum going. TSU still hadn't really got the anchor set as far as what they want to do defensively.
Ball on the Tiger 32-yard line. Receiver in motion. Here's the inside handoff. And Sylvester will pick up about 2 yards. He'll get out to the 30. And I think one of the strengths right now for Florida, and they have so many weapons. They've got a great core of young receivers. And now with Willie Hayward and Derek Williams as your 2 lead senior receivers to match the speed from this group of young freshman and sophomore receivers, big things are up ahead.
Both teams have a lot of key players that are.
There's the handoff. Sylvester up the middle, running hard, getting across the 25, picking up about 5 on the carry.
That was Bingham and Gouch making the stop.
Sylvester appeared to be signaling to come out, but actually he'll stay in. Quickly to the line on the Rattlers. Now they check. Audible by Chester.
This is a key play on this drive.
3rd down and 3. Ball on the 25. Dropping back to pass. Looking. Going to Hayward towards the corner of the end zone. And it's an incomplete pass.
Excellent coverage. The ball was really overthrown out of bounds, so neither the receiver nor the defensive back really had a play on it.
Willie Hayward, number 3, incomplete.
It was probably best Chester just had to throw that ball away because defensive back had excellent position on that.
That was about the only place he could put that ball, which is where he put it. So on the kick, the field goal attempt from the 32, it'll be a 42-yard attempt for Wesley Taylor. A man offsides. The kick is up by Taylor. It's good. Here's the thing, though. With the offside, the Rattlers do pick up a 1st down. Question is, do you take points off the board, though? Do you take points off the board? There's a whole rule. Yeah, they're going to take the points off the board and take the 1st down. So now you definitely want to score now because you may regret taking that 3 off.
That was the speedster. Number 45 at TSU.
And, you know, a little something we talked about in the pregame, Rogers Cromartie actually, you mentioned, has quite a vertical, and not surprised that he went in there after that one. So here we go.
Got caught in no man's land.
First and down on the 20, Chester.
Great.
Rolls, finds Taj Deakins, 15, nice block upfield, cutting up the middle, and dragged down to the 7-8-yard line. Give some credit to number 84, Derek Williams, on a great block. And the Rattlers are first and goal on the 8. Cromartie on the tackle for the Tigers.
Anthony Levin made the stop for the TSU Tigers.
First and goal. Dietrich Henry, the lone back. Hayward to his left. That's Williams in motion. Chester rolling left, avoids the rush, looking, and he's wrapped up and tackled by number 59. Maurice Davis, the junior from Irondale, Alabama, makes the sack, and he actually, Chester was able to avoid him, and then on the comeback, wasn't able to find an open receiver and was not able to throw it away. So here we go, second and goal, ball on the 12. Chester looking to his sideline, 4 seconds on the play clock, 2 seconds, 1. Chester barely gets it off. Dietrich Henry fumbled the handoff, and I think that may have been a result of them trying to get that play off before the play clock expired.
This is when the senior leadership from Chester managing the clock, making an audible at the line. He needs to step up and take control of the offense, because you don't want this to come back and bite you by taking points off the board, and all of a sudden you fumble the ball away.
Third and goal now from the Tiger 13-yard line. Florida A&M's audibles come from the sideline, and now Chester does call a timeout. So the audibles come from the sideline for those of you who are kind of confused as to what's going on, and the communication was a little slow.
This is not good. The frustration that Chester's showing right now is not a positive thing for the leadership of the offense. You know, by him just throwing his arms in a tirade, the coaching staff, you know, they can save this.
6:39 remaining. Florida A&M trailing 7-0. Taking points off the board after a 42-yard field goal attempt. Managed to get a first and goal on the 7. And now we're faced with 2 negative yardage plays, which backed them up to the 13. And now they're forced with having to get a 6.
It goes against the fundamentals of football.
Yeah, I agree with you. The stadium's still filling up here in Atlanta, Georgia. Plenty of activities going on outside. So we'll wait until close to halftime when both of these historic marching bands take the field before we get a true measurement of what type of game day crowd we're going to have today. So Chester brings his unit back out. He has trips to his left. Willie Hayward is the single receiver to his right. Philip Sylvester, single back. Chester pumps, and there's a flag, yes sir, as number 83 Jarvis Funderburg would have been wide open over the middle of the field, but he was held. It'll be a pass interference, and by my count, that'll be half the distance, so that'll be another first and goal for the Rattlers. And, you know, Ron, sometimes as a defensive back, that's what you got to do to prevent 6 on the board.
I would always, when I was coaching or when I was playing, I was always taught it's better to take the penalty than give up the 6 points, because that'll jeopardize your playing time further down the road.
Yes, indeed it is. Half the distance. So that'll put the ball at about the 6.5-yard mark.
So far, this is still playing in FAMU's favor, you know, with the penalties kind of saving a little inconsistency as far as what they're trying to do.
Talk about penalties. The Rattlers have hurt themselves with penalties this season. So far on this drive, it hasn't killed them. Play clock down to 4, 3. Chester, they're not going to get this off. And actually somebody moved. It's Todd Jenkins on the end. You can see Jenkins was aware of the clock from my angle, and I think he was motioning to Chester to get the play off. And I think he jumped early. The Rattlers' penalties this year have been, they've averaged about 10 a game, 31 penalties this season for 220 yards, or if you took that into consideration, an average of 78.5 per game. Chester, there's the inside handoff to Sylvester. Oh no, check that. On a reverse. Actually, that was a keeper.
It was Kelvin Baker.
I actually got faked on that. Admittedly, I was following Sylvester. What happened is Chester was cutting to his left, and I'm not sure if the receiver in motion was supposed to come back, but there was that linebacker there in his way. So another negative play is 2nd and goal now. Ball on the 14. Chester dropping back. He's running, keeping. No, he's throwing. Goes short underneath to about the 9. Let's see where they spot it. They will spot it just past the 10. Reception made by Derek Williams.
Number 21 Hall made the stop.
And if you're Tennessee State, you got to feel pretty good about things if you're able to.
Their backs have been against the wall for quite a while, and they're still keeping FAMU out of the end zone.
Exactly, my point where I was going with that. And there's the timing on that play was all off, as on the snap, I'm not sure if Williams was supposed to receive the shotgun snap, but Chester got it and then tried to hand it to Williams, and he fumbled it. And so
they kind of crowded themselves. I'm not a big component of running too many reverses on the goal line because of the pursuit angle.
Back onto the field is Wesley Taylor now with a 33-yard attempt. Snap, hold, kick, and Taylor does put that one through the upright. So,
well, suspended animation. You know, we saw a couple of more offensive plays, and we're back to where we started.
Exactly. Our score: Tennessee State 7, Florida A&M 3, 4:35 remaining in the first quarter. We'll be back right after this break.
Do you need airline tickets or hotel reservations? Well, if so, there's only one place to go: BlackAmericaTravel.com. Black America Travel is your #1 online destination for ethnic travel events and all your travel arrangements. You can book cruises or trips to Las Vegas or any other place you'd like to go. So give them a call at 877-875-8484 or visit them on the web at BlackAmericaTravel.com. Black America Travel. Get your stuff, lock the door, and let's go. Hello and welcome back to the 19th annual Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic, right here from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. Today's game is brought to you in part by BlackAmericaTravel.com. Black America Travel. Get your stuff, lock the door, and let's go. Also brought to you in part by MEACFans.com. MEAC Fans, covering the MEAC inside and out. Brought to you also by Onaden Online. Onaden.com, your #1 source for HBCU sports and information. This game is also brought to you in part by Sprint and Chrysler Corporation. We now return you to Brian Fulford and Ron Mitchell with the continuation of today's game.
4:35 remaining in the first quarter. TSU 7, Florida A&M 3. Some other games going on in the MEAC. Howard with a 14-7 lead going into the third quarter against Winston-Salem State. Delaware State leading Hampton 17-14.
Wesley Taylor, 33-yard field goal.
North Carolina A&T loses big to Norfolk State by a score of 50-20. Yes, I said 50-20. Also in action today, Morgan State taking on Bethune-Cookman. It's a homecoming at Bethune-Cookman at Municipal Stadium.
Kamari has it. We'll see what kind of...
Cromartie from the 10 out to the 28. You know, Cromartie, Ron, is actually the third leading all-purpose yardage man on the Tigers behind Chris Johnson and Javaris Williams. He's averaging about 69 yards per game just on kickoff returns alone. And we've already seen him be featured as a tailback in TSU's first drive. So TSU leading 7-3 back out onto the field. Quarterback Antonio Hefner in the shotgun. Twins to his left. The inside handoff to Williams. And he's tackled by, first on the play, number 90, Carlos Roll. I don't think we ever got to the those defensive linebackers for the Rattlers. 90, Carlos Roll. 93, Lyman Reed. Cameron Houston and Tyrone McGriff up front. The linebackers, leading tackler Donnell Shepard from out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Vernon Wilder and Victoriano Arboleta. Cornerbacks, Michael Creary, Ernest Williams, Jason Beach, and Curtis Holcomb. 2nd down and 7. Pass is complete to Chris Johnson. He'll pick up a first down as he crosses the 40-yard line.
That'll be Ernest Williams. Actually, Michael McCreary making the stop.
Ball spotted just past the 40-yard line. Tigers come out with a trips left. Single back is Williams. Handoff up to middle. And plowing ahead for a pickup of 5, maybe 6 yards is Javaris Williams.
Had a couple of people, Carlos Rose, sticking his head in, making a stop on that.
As we mentioned, Antonio Hefner, actually the leading passer in the Ohio Valley Conference. He'll drop back to pass and play action. Scrambling, looking, picks up a block, and pass is incomplete. Kind of surprised that as I look downfield to see what kind of options Hefner had, he only had one receiver.
Actually, that one receiver, he was 2 steps too slow throwing the ball. He was open on the break. It was a slow developing play because it was a play action pass, and actually the receiver was open. But the pressure coming from McGriff in the forefront in his face, that kind of forced him to bail out of the pocket.
3rd down and 5. Ball spotted just past the 45, needing to get to midfield for a first. Hefner in the shotgun, trips left. Drops back to pass. The blitz, it's a screen. Out across midfield. He's got a blocker out to the 40, 35, and down to the 31-yard line, Javaris Williams.
That was Holcomb coming up from his cornerback spot, making the stop. That play had even a larger potential. If one of those tacklers would have missed that, they probably would have taken it to the house.
And some nice downfield blocking by the right guard, Eugene Banks, 6'6", 365 senior from out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hefner out to Williams. He avoids the tackle, 35, 25. And did he tiptoe his way past the first down marker? It appears He does have just enough. He picks up the first down.
This comes down to preparation now. The Rattlers were caught out of position on that defensively. They were still shuffling personnel in and were not even aligned in their defensive set when Tennessee State had already hiked the ball and the play started moving.
Have not seen much of a rush by the Rattlers in terms of pressuring Hefner. Here is that rush up the middle, and it's Williams to the 10. 5, driven out of bounds at the 4. That'll be a 16-yard pickup by Javaris Williams. And for many Rattlers, I'm sure flashbacks of last season are starting to pop into their heads because Javaris Williams ran all over the Rattler defense last year.
Hey, we had Beach and McCreary making the stop. Definitely the TSU Tigers have a great role, a monument of momentum going on this offensive drive. They look real sound.
First and goal for the Tigers on the 4. Single back is Williams. Inside handoff, cutting left. And great stop on the play by Curtis Holcomb. But Williams still with his power picked up 2 yards. And he'll be actually moving back to the 3.
I got to get the big guy Carlos rolled. He actually had the legs wrapped up on that play.
Second down and goal, ball on the 3. That's Chris Johnson on the near side. Hand off to Williams. He's cutting, and he's going to come up short at about the 1.
That was some nifty running by Williams.
Ball is planted on the 1 and pick up of 2.
Ball on the right hash mark. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Let's see what the Rattlers play for. This is a big down for them.
Let's see. A lot of open room to Hefner's left. He motions towards Johnson. But no, Hefner decides to take it forward for the quarterback sneak.
He'll get
and he gets 6 points. Touchdown, Tennessee State. Hefner with the 1-yard quarterback keeper puts the Tigers up 13-3.
On that drive, TSU, they had all plus plays. Every play was a positive play. They had no negative plays.
Very good point as Eric Benson comes on to kick the extra point. The extra point is up.
Good.
And good. So, with 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter, our score, Tennessee State 14, Florida A&M 3. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. We are here for the 19th annual Bank of America Atlanta Football Classic. Today's game is brought to you in part by Grant Transportation. GrantTransportation.com, the official transportation company of the Black College Sports Network. Also brought to you in part by the Wyndham Midtown Atlanta Hotel. Wyndham Midtown Atlanta. When you're not home, it's just like being there. We now prepare to turn you back over to Ron Mitchell and Brian Fulford.
Thank you, Roy. 38 seconds left. from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta Football Classic. This contest brought to you. And there's a short kick. And Taj Jenkins. And there's a flag on the far side of the field, most likely an offsides penalty. You know, I think what Benson tried to do there was put enough air on it and see if one of his speed receivers could run down the field and grab it out of the air. And, you know, the receiver was really only about 3 yards away from really making that happen.
I kind of like what the TSU Tigers are doing. They're coming with the passage of formations, trying to come with different variations. The key to it is not being predictable. I mean, you're up 14-3. Who would ever suspect a short kick right about now?
So the Rattlers decide to take the penalty and move forward. So the ball will be spotted on the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for Alchester. Oh, the officials stopped the play for a second. Game clock reset to 38. It had wound down to 32. So 38 seconds. It's Chester now in the shotgun. He has trips to his left. Hayward, the single receiver, to his left. Fakes the handoff. Looks, he does go underneath to Sylvester. Breaks the tackle, stays on his feet, picks up the first down, and a yard more. Philip Sylvester out to the 46-yard line. Cromartie on the tackle.
And that was Chester showed great patience on that, kind of looking the defense off, coming back to his left.
Chester goes under center now, backs in an offset I. Twins left. The handoff. And unable to hold the block on that for the Rattlers.
That was a great play by number 2. Larry Wilford coming up.
Williford making the tackle, but more importantly, as I was watching on that, Ron, Folsom unable to hold his block. So that's how the first quarter ends with our score, Tennessee State 14, Florida A&M 3. We'll be back for the second quarter right after this.